Welcome everyone, this is Patrick Sedivy here, and we're going to be talking about doTERRA's compensation plan today. Now, I think all of us that are watching this are interested in knowing how to best make money with doTERRA, and so let's jump right on in. There are 5 different ways to make money with doTERRA. The first is with retail profits, the second with fast start bonuses, the third with regular commissions, or also called Unilevel commissions. The fourth is bonus pools, and the fifth is the power of 3 bonus. Now, this is not necessarily the order in which doTERRA presents the compensation plan. This is the way I'm going to show it, and really the main change here is that I'm putting power of 3 bonus last. The reason why I put it last is because it's the most complicated piece of the compensation plan. Now, I do want to mention just briefly, there is one other rewards piece, and that is the loyalty rewards program. But keep in mind, the loyalty rewards program is there to incentivize buying behavior, meaning as many people as possible can buy the product on a monthly basis, and they buy as much as possible, and there's that loyalty rewards program that incentivizes that. The 5 parts earlier, the 5 ways to make money with doTERRA, are there to incentivize sharing or building behavior. Now remember, all of the pieces of the compensation or rewards program are there to produce specific activities, right? So we're going to just touch on this a little bit as we go, but that's why we have the compensation plan. It's there to incentivize certain behaviors on our part as the wellness advocates as we share doTERRA's wonderful products. So let's go have a really quick overview of the compensation plan document. On this document, which is produced by doTERRA, and you can find it on doTERRA's website, you have the first 3 pieces of the compensation plan. And we're going to go into detail on each one of them in just a moment. But the first one here is retail profits. The second one is fast start bonus in the middle column. And the third one is the power of 3 bonus, which I'm going to talk about last, just as a reminder. But I just want to point out here, in this document, they actually broke this document into 3 segments. The first segment, or the first page, I should say, if you look at the top right corner, page 1 of 3, right? There's 3 pages. So the first page is called Getting Started. And that's not because they're talking about the Getting Started bonus, it's as per se, right? You have the Fast Start bonus, which is right here. But the reason why they mention this is because these 3 bonuses really are very useful for a wellness advocate who is in the early stages of building their business, because they'll make most of their money in these areas for the first little while. Now, the second page is they titled Residual Income, or Residual Earnings, rather. And this piece is really where the bulk of your income will come from long term. Not initially. Initially, it's going to come from those 3 pieces that you just saw on the previous page. But in time, the Unilevel or regular commissions part of the compensation plan will be the very biggest part of your compensation. Now, the third page is all about leadership pools. Okay, and we're going to go over those in detail as well. So let's start with just some basic information that everybody needs to know. When I first started with doTERRA, our upline, Teresa Harding, actually didn't give us a sample of oil as we teach and recommend people to start building their business. She knew that if we were going to build the business, we would do it purely because of the business, not because of the product. And so she shared with us a document showing the compensation plan. And the first thing Elise and I did when we looked at it is we asked ourselves, what does PV mean? And so let's just make sure we cover these basics. PV means personal volume. It's how much product, or in points, everything's calculated in points, you personally buy on a month-to-month basis, right? This always resets at 0 at the beginning of every month. And so really it's in any given month, how much volume, personal volume do you have? How much PV, how many points of product do you purchase? Now the next thing we asked ourselves is, what's this OV thing? OV is organizational volume, basically how much product you and everybody under you, all the way down to 100 levels, if you have 100 levels, and beyond, right, just unlimited levels, everybody under your organization, what's the total volume? including yourselves, right? So it's important that you remember and know what these two things are as we move forward. Another thing that I wanted to just mention is doTERRA has a minimum requirement of 100 PV. So you personally have to order 100 points every month or in any given month for you to get paid the compensation plan. Now, I always teach everybody, if you want to maximize your compensation, you have to have a minimum monthly PV of 150. And this will become obvious when we talk about the power of 3 bonus towards the end of this presentation. But in the meantime, you could just have that in your brain that if anybody wants to maximize this compensation plan, you really should have 150 PV minimum order every month. All right, now let's jump right into the retail profits, which is the first way for you to make money with doTERRA. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because it doesn't create residual income at all. But basically what it is, when you buy product at wholesale price, you could then sell it at a retail price, and when you do that, you get a 25% retail profit. So I really teach people that there's 2 times or 2 situations that make sense to sell for retail profits. And the first one is if you already have a brick and mortar or even possibly some other retail store way that you sell other products. And if you do that, then why not add on the essential oils? Let me give you just a couple quick examples. Let's say you are a massage therapist and you have a little massage studio and you have customers that come into your studio, and it would absolutely make sense to have essential oils on the shelf and sell them at retail price. Okay, that way you collect a profit when you sell them that product. And the really cool thing is that you know now that that's somebody that is interested in essential oils, and you could then follow up with them and perhaps turn them into a customer that buys regularly. So that's the first example or the first scenario in which you would want to use retail profits. If you have a brick and mortar store, like a massage therapist salon, or even, let's say, a chiropractic office, you might want to have some there. Health food store, there are many examples of where this would fit, but the concept is some sort of brick and mortar location. Now, the other scenario in which this makes sense to sell at retail price is if you have somebody that you know, let's say a neighbor or somebody just down the street, a friend, that says, I absolutely don't want to sign up into doTERRA. I'm not going to get an account, but do you have some On Guard? And so now they're expecting you to hand over a bottle of On Guard, right? And they're willing to pay for it. Well, in this type of scenario, I would definitely sell it to them at retail price, because every transaction, every time you deliver that bottle to them, it's time that it takes you. And so if you charge them just wholesale price, there's a couple of problems with that. The first problem is you're at a loss because you've probably paid shipping for that product. So it costs more than the wholesale price to get it. So you're at a loss there. The transaction cost of delivering it to them, that's your time. Time is money, and so you're at a loss there. And so you're losing money by selling it to them at wholesale price. But there's another reason, perhaps even more important, and that is the fact that if you sell it to them at wholesale price, just a one-off here and there, as you're delivering them the product, collecting cash or a check from them, or some other form of way of payment, they have no reason to sign up in doTERRA because they're already getting it at wholesale price. If you sell it to them at retail price, then you could always move them towards, if they come back repeatedly and say, hey, can I have another bottle of On Guard? Oh, can I have another bottle of On Guard? Or can I try this deep blue stuff? Or whatever. You could at that point say, hey, you buy this stuff pretty often. You really should get your own account. And then you could talk to them about getting their own wholesale account or whatever if they weren't willing to do that before. So those are the 2 scenarios that I would use the retail profits method or model. Other than that, I wouldn't focus on that at all because it's not residual. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about residual income. Do the work once, meaning introduce the product to somebody and teach them how to use it. So you've done that work once and get them on LRP, and now they'll buy it forever, right? So, I mean, doTERRA has an extremely high retention rate. So that's really what it's all about. So let's move on to Fast Start Bonus. So the Fast Start Bonus is paid out to 3 levels. So let me just describe how that works. So if you enroll somebody, you earn 20% of whatever they buy. And now if they enroll somebody, you'll get 10% of whatever that second person buys. And if that second person enrolls somebody also, you'll now get 5% of what that third person buys. Now, if you describe it just like that to somebody, that's pretty confusing. I mean, maybe not to you because you've already done doTERRA, and maybe it still is confusing to you. But if you're describing this to a completely new person, I guarantee you just that description is not sufficient. So I always do an example. And it's best if you could draw it out on a little piece of paper where you just write down names or whatever. But if you can't do that, you can at least use names when you're describing it. So let me give you this example. So let's say I enroll Sally, and Sally buys 100 points of product. Well, then I'll get 20% or $20, right? I'll get $20 from anything that she buys for the first 60 days from the day that she enrolls, not the day I enrolled, right? I've enrolled 10 years ago, and I'm continuously getting Fast Start bonuses. This 60 days is from when that new enrolled person, Sally, so when Sally signs up, the first 60 days from when she signs up, you are getting 20%. Now let's say Sally, in green here, signs up Bethany in blue, okay? So Sally will get 20% as long as she has a 100 PV loyalty rewards order, okay? So as long as she has that minimum requirement we mentioned a few minutes ago, Sally will be getting 20% from anything that Bethany buys. Now, if Bethany buys 100 points of product, Sally will get the $20, but I'm going to get this 10% here. So I'll get $10 from anything that Bethany buys. And I didn't even sign up Bethany. That's pretty cool stuff. So that's 20% from anything Sally buys her first 60 days, and then 10% from anything that Bethany buys her first 60 days. Now let's say that Bethany enrolls somebody. Let's say her name is Yolanda, and Yolanda buys 100 points of product. Then Bethany will be the one who gets the 20%, Sally will get the 10%, and I am going to get this 5%, the 5% from anything that Yolanda buys during her first 60 days in doTERRA. Okay? So just keep in mind that 100 PV requirement is there for you to get paid the Fast Start bonus. Now, there's often these questions of little details of how the Fast Start bonus works that come up when I do live trainings. But as far as teaching a brand new person, what I just described, that's all you need to share. Okay, so you just shared it in like 2 minutes. Now, the questions that arise are, for example, let's say I enroll Yolanda, but I place Yolanda underneath Bethany. Okay, so we stick to our previous example where I enrolled Sally, put her on my first level, and then I enrolled Bethany, put her on my second level, right underneath Sally. Sorry, Sally enrolled Bethany. But what if I enrolled Yolanda and put her down here on my third level? Who gets the 20%? Well, I do, because I'm the one who enrolled her. So whenever you're signing somebody up in doTERRA, you have something called the enrolling sponsor and the placement sponsor. The enrolling sponsor is the one who signed them up. Okay, so in this case, I'm the one that signed up Yolanda. So the enrolling sponsor is the one who always gets the 20% Fast Start. Now the placement sponsor is who she's placed under. So in this case, Yolanda is placed under Bethany in blue here. So Bethany would be the placement sponsor. Now Bethany doesn't get any Fast Start bonus from Yolanda's purchases because I'm the one that enrolled her, so I get the 20% straight up, okay? But Does that mean that Bethany doesn't get any benefit from having Yolanda under her? Absolutely not. Bethany actually does get benefit from that. So the benefit is that after the 60 days are up, okay, where the fast start bonuses have been paid out, that's when the Unilevel commissions or regular commissions start paying out. And so Bethany is going to be the one that gets paid out on Yolanda as being on her first level. And we're going to get into that in a little bit, how the Unilevel commissions work, okay? And then Sally will get paid on Yolanda's purchases as somebody who's on Sally's second level. And I would get paid on anything Yolanda purchases moving forward after her first 60 days as someone who's on my third level, okay? I hope that makes sense. Let me try to think if there are any other key questions that people ask me. Oh, here's a question. So you have the requirement of having 100 PV in order to get the fast start bonus. So let's say we go back to the original example where I enrolled Sally, Sally enrolled Bethany, Bethany enrolled Yolanda. Let's say Sally does not have her 100 PV order. So does Bethany get her 20% of anything that Yolanda buys her first 60 days? Yep, she does. Does Sally get her 10%? Nope, she doesn't, because she didn't have the 100 PV loyalty rewards order template, okay? And do I get the 5%? As long as I have my 100 PV order, I'll get the 5%. So Sally's really the only one that would miss out in this scenario because she's the one that didn't have her 100 PV order. All right. I think that's probably all we need to cover is for the fast start bonus right now. Let's move on to the Unilevel Commission. So this is the third way to make money with doTERRA, or the third one that we're going to be discussing in this order. So let's talk about the Unilevel Commission, or here they call it the Unilevel Organizational Bonus. Most people just call it the Unilevel, or they might just call it just their commissions. Okay. Remember, this is the part that's residual. This is the part that you want to build towards long term. This is the part that will grow and grow, and where you will make the most money long term as you build this business. Okay. So first of all, I just want to point out a few things. You have obviously a bunch of different columns here, starting at wellness advocate, then manager, director, executive, all the way on up to presidential diamond. So these are different ranks. Each column represents a rank. And in this yellow box that I highlighted, you can see the requirements for each of those ranks. So a wellness advocate, all they really need is to have 50 PV order, monthly order, okay? And they only get paid on their first level. These levels down here are how deep you get paid in your organization. So let's say, again, we go back to our Sally, Bethany, Yolanda example. Sally is on my first level. Bethany is on my second level. Yolanda was on my third level, okay? So as you advance in rank, you get paid deeper and deeper in your organization. So as a manager, you get paid 2 levels deep, and the requirements to be a manager are first that you have your own order of 100 PV, and the second requirement is that you have a total organizational volume, OV, of 500 PV. The requirement for director is the same 100 PV. Now that doesn't change. That's the same all the way through the highest ranks of presidential diamond. So that never changes. But now you have a requirement of 500 PV OV. Director, oh sorry, I was on director. So director has now a requirement of 1,000 OV. Executive requirement is 2,000 OV. Elite requirement is 3,000 OV. Now when you get to Premier, things start changing up a little bit. They make it a little bit more complicated. So as a Premier, you still have that minimum requirement of 100 PV, your own personal order. They have an OV requirement of 5,000 points, your total organizational volume, meaning you and everybody underneath you. But then they also have additional requirements, and the first one is that you have 2 qualified legs. See to the left here, 2 qualified legs. So you need 2 qualified legs that qualify at the rank of executive. So what does that mean? Well, if you could imagine 2 legs, right? Your own 2 legs. So let's say if you look at your structure organizationally, you would have somebody you signed up, let's say Sally, in one of your legs, and she would have to qualify as executive. What does executive mean? Well, it means that Sally would have to have her own 100 PV order, and Sally would have to have organizational volume of 2,000 points. Okay, that would qualify her as executive. So if that's the case, and if I enrolled Sally, she would be one of my qualifying legs. Now, I would need to have a second qualifying leg for me to be premier, so I'd have to have somebody else. Let's say David. Let's say David is my second leg. I've enrolled him. I have to be the one who enrolled him, okay? And he has to have his own 100 PV order and 2,000 points of organizational volume. Now, if that's the case, if I have these two people that I've personally enrolled, but they're placed on separate legs, meaning a separate branch in my downline. So if you look at, your leg or your two legs on your body, they're on separate lines, right? So they have to be in separate lines. That makes two qualifying legs. Now, sometimes people will say, do they have to be on your first level? Well, the answer to that is not necessarily. So let's say Sally's on my first level. She could be my qualifying leg, right? She's on my first level, like we talked about. But David doesn't have to be on my first level. Let's say David is on my second level. As long as I'm the enroller, I'm the one who enrolled him and placed him on my second level, and as long as he qualifies as executive, and as long as he's not underneath Sally anywhere, he's on a separate leg, right? And if you're looking at one leg, you can look at your thigh, your knee, your shin, your ankle, your foot, your toes. All that's in one leg, if it all in your, let's say your right leg, right? So if David's the knee and Sally's the thigh or hip, then that's all in the same leg, and that doesn't count. Okay, you'll only have one of them count, only the top one, Sally. Okay, so if you want David to count, he has to be in a completely different leg. All right, so that's the rank of premier. Now, to get to the rank of silver, they don't require an OV amount anymore. All they require is 3 qualifying legs that qualify as the rank of elite. Well, what's elite? Well, you just go here to the title elite, and you see elites need to have their own 100 PV order, and then they need to have 3,000 points total. Okay, so you need to have 3 elites that you've personally enrolled that you've placed on 3 separate legs. Okay, and so on up. And so you can see the requirements for each of these different ranks. Okay, notice that silver, they no longer require a volume amount, but there is an implicit volume because your 3 elites, well, for them to be elite, they have to have a minimum of 3,000 points, right? So you'll have 3,000 points on 3 different legs. You'll have a minimum of 3 times 3, meaning 9,000 points OV in your organization, right? Plus your own. So you're going to have your own 100 PV. So you're going to have a minimum of 9,100 points for you to be a silver. With that information, you should be able to understand how to draw out on a piece of paper all of the rest of the ranks. Let me just show you what the silver looks like drawn out. So for you to be silver, you, as a silver, would need to have 3 elites on separate legs. So if I draw them out, they're not underneath each other. Okay, so one elite here and another elite underneath them, that doesn't help you. You need to have 3 elites on 3 separate legs, and you must be the enroller. Okay, so for them to be elite, just reminder, they have to have their own 100 PV order, and they need to have 3,000 points OV in that given month. Okay, so once you get to the rank of silver, you'll notice that you get paid deeper and deeper in your organization as you move up the ranks. Once you get to the rank of silver, you get paid 7 levels deep. That's as deep as it goes. Now, pay attention to these percentages. You notice that on the first level, you're getting only 2%, then second level, 3%, then third and fourth levels, you're getting 5% each. Fifth and sixth levels, you're getting 6% each. And seventh level, you're getting 7%. Now, some people wonder, is this good or bad that you have small percentages at the top and larger percentages down further below? Well, let me tell you, this is wonderful. It's actually what makes doTERRA's compensation plan so that you could earn huge, basically, theoretically, unlimited amount of money. Because let me ask you this question. If the numbers were inverted and you had, let's say, 7% on your first level, 6% on your second and third, 5% on your fourth and fifth, and 3% on your sixth, and 2% on your seventh, think about this. How many people do you actually have on your first level? Well, you probably have a few. I mean, some of you might only have one or two. Some of you might have three or four. I personally have 18 on my first level, and that's a lot. That's really a lot. Very few will have that many. And if you're not ranked above Presidential Diamond, I would wonder why do you even have that many in the first place on your first level. You shouldn't have that many people on your first level, okay? So you're going to have a relatively small amount of people on your first level. Let me ask you this. How many will you have on your seventh level? Well, as your organization expands and as you teach people to duplicate, if you sign up 3 and each of them sign up 3, now you have 9 people on your second level and each of them sign up 3, now you'd have 27 people on your third level. And so those numbers continue to grow and grow. I have over 20,000 people on my seventh level. So would you rather earn 7% from the 18 people on my first level, or would you rather earn 7% from the 20,000 people on my seventh level? Well, I think the answer is obvious. You'd much rather earn 7% from 20,000 people's purchases than just from 18, right? And so that's the power of having these larger percentages down lower in your organization. It really makes it so that your commission could grow and grow. And it's actually what makes it so that the Unilevel portion of your commission is going to be the largest part of your commission in time. Now, it does take time to get there because in the early stages of you building your business, you won't have anybody on your seventh level. Okay? At the very beginning, you'll only have people on your first level. Okay, so be patient. The Unilevel portion will seem really small at first. You might just make a few dollars from your Unilevel in the first months of your business. And then as you grow, it just starts growing more and more. But it really has the potential to grow hugely. I want to just share a story with you about one of my builders on my team who's now a blue diamond. At the time when we had this conversation, she was only a platinum, I believe, or gold or something like that. And she said, I get a $500 raise every month. Now, I just want you to pause for 1 second and ask yourself this question. Imagine if you have a job. Now, a lot of you have jobs, and some of you, I think the vast majority of you have at least had a job in the past. So can you imagine yourself going into your boss and asking for a raise? Now, I'm assuming that assuming that you're a good employee and he values you and the company is profitable and has the capacity to increase your income somewhat, I could imagine him giving you a raise. Now, can you imagine going into that same boss the very next month and saying, hey boss, thank you for that $500 a month raise you gave me last month. I really appreciate that. Now, this month I worked just as hard as last month. So can you give me another raise? Yeah, he'd laugh you out of the room, right? So that never happens. But here in doTERRA, it could happen. Our builder, who's now Blue Diamond, was getting for a period of time $500 a month increases in pay. And I remember when we were growing really quickly, there was a time period where we were growing by $1,000 or $5,000 a month in income. And so your income can just start growing by leaps and bounds. And this part of the income really is residual. As long as mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers love putting oil on their babies, these numbers, these commissions continue. And I can tell you, with how powerful doTERRA's products are, people just simply continue buying the product over and over again every month for a long, long time. So that is the power of this Unilevel portion of the commissions. Now, let's go to the next slide and let's start talking about the leadership pools. Okay, this is the fourth way to make money. and this is in the section titled Leadership Pools. Okay, these are given as incentives for you to build to leadership positions and for you to partake in leadership within the company, really, leadership of people in the field, okay? The first leadership rank is considered to be Premier, where you do have those 2-leg requirements. It's the first rank where you have any requirements as far as having qualifying legs, okay? So the first bonus pool, there are several bonus pools here I want to talk about. The first one is the Empowerment Bonus Pool. The second one is the Leadership Performance Pool. The third one is the Diamond Performance Pool. Then we have also a Diamond Pool, a Blue Diamond Pool, and a Presidential Diamond Pool. That's a lot of pools. Okay, so let's talk about these, starting with the Empowerment Pool. How does this one work? So if you are the rank of Premier or Silver in any given month, and you have at least one person that you've enrolled, that you've personally enrolled, with 100 PV that month, okay, then you'll receive a portion of this empowerment bonus pool. Okay, now that share in the empowerment pool is approximately $150 to $200 on average every month. So that's a nice little bonus for those of you who are Premier or Silver. Okay, all you have to do to qualify for this pool is you have to be either Premier or Silver in that given month, and then you have to enroll one person with a minimum of 100 PV order. Okay, that's the empowerment bonus. In fact, there's a few times that doTERRA has made adjustments to the compensation plan. Now let me tell you, most companies, when they make adjustments to their compensation plan, they do so by taking things away from the distributors, from those that are out there in the field day-to-day sharing the product, right? They reduce a bonus pool, or they change the commission structure so people don't make as much money. And this is devastating to those companies when they do it. I don't know why any company ever does this. It just is a killer. Well, doTERRA has made changes to their compensation plan on several occasions, but they've always been beneficial changes. They've always been enhancements to the compensation plan. And this empowerment pool is one of those examples. This empowerment pool a number of years ago did not exist, but the owners of doTERRA got together and said, what can we do to get more money in the pockets of our younger builders, Premiers and Silvers, so that they make a little bit more money earlier on, so that they have the drive and excitement to keep going, and they get rewarded for their efforts. Because let's face it, it's not easy to build at the ranks of Premier and Silver, right? You're still talking a lot to your own friends and family, and building with them, and your hands are just, your sleeves are rolled up, and you're in there day to day in the nitty gritty building the business. So it's not easy, and the doTERRA owners determined that Premiers and Silvers aren't making quite enough money. So they actually added 1% out of all of the volume that is generated in all of doTERRA globally every month. They've set that aside for this empowerment pool, okay? And that money goes to all of those who are Premier and Silver, but they want to make sure that those Premiers and Silvers are actually enrolling. So you have to be Premier and Silver, and you have to have enrolled one person in that given month. And you can, as long as you're enrolling people every month and you're qualified as Premier or Silver every month, you can get this bonus every single month, okay? So the next bonus I want to talk to you about is this Leadership Performance Pool. And this one is for all of those people who are Silvers, Golds, and Platinums, okay? So doTERRA sets aside another 2%, okay, of all of the revenue, all of the points that are generated globally for doTERRA in that given month, and they give it to all of the people who are Silvers, Gold, and Platinums. Now, they don't give it to them evenly, okay? A person who is Gold gets 5. You see this number of shares here, right? A person who is Gold gets 5 times as much as someone who is Silver. Someone who is Platinum gets 10 times as much as someone who is Silver. So the way I like to describe this is, think of that bonus pool like you're invited to a party, okay? So just imagine you qualified as Silver, Gold, or Platinum. You get invited to this pizza party, and there's this big old massive pizza there, and it's all cut up into a bunch of these slices. Well, if you're Silver and you walk into that party, They're going to hand you a plate with 1 slice. If you're a gold at that party, they'll hand you a plate with 5 slices. And if you're a platinum coming to that party, they'll hand you a plate with 10 slices and you're sure to get fat on all that pizza. Just kidding. So that's basically how these bonus pools work. Every silver gets 1 slice, every gold gets 5 slices, every platinum gets 10 slices, okay? So let me put that in actual numbers. The value of one of these shares, dollar-wise, for the bonus pools has traditionally been for doTERRA, and it has been this way for many years now, where it's fluctuated within the range of about $125 to $150 each month, just for one of these shares in this bonus pool. Now, first of all, why does it fluctuate? It simply fluctuates for 2 key reasons. The first is the volume of the company goes up, fluctuates. Sometimes some months are a little bit lower, some are higher or a lot higher, okay? But so in general, that volume, the global volume of doTERRA is growing, okay? So the amount of money that the 2% represents is getting bigger and bigger. Or if you want to use my analogy from earlier, the pizza party, the pizza is getting bigger and bigger every month, okay, in general. Or sometimes, every once in a while, it goes a little bit smaller, but then it picks up again. So that the size of the pizza or the amount of money being paid out, the 2%, fluctuates a little bit every month. That's the first reason. The second reason is the number of people that are qualified as silver, gold, or platinum in any given month fluctuates as well. So let's say you hit silver last month. Well, last month you would have gotten 1 share from this bonus pool. Let's say this month you don't hit silver. Well, this month you won't get invited to that party. You won't get that share from the bonus pools, okay? It's for every month that you're qualified as that rank. So that's basically how these bonus pools work. And the next ones I'm about to describe work kind of similarly. Oh, before I go there, here's another detail that's nice for you to know, but you don't need to teach this at all to new people. You have here this 1 plus, right? What that's describing is if you're a silver, gold, or a platinum, you have the opportunity to earn an extra share in the bonus pool. So an extra $150, okay? So, and how do you do that? You do that, and you can read it down here in the bottom part, right? And so you earn the extra shares by enrolling somebody who advances to the rank of elite, okay? So let me just, my cursor disappeared. So you earn additional shares by helping your personally enrolled wellness advocates advance to elite, right? And hence, that's where these are leadership pools, right? Because you're helping to lead these people as they build their business, okay? So you have an unlimited number of these that you can earn, by the way. So let's say you have 2 people that you've enrolled, so you're the person, you've personally enrolled them, and those 2 people both go elite, or for the first time in a month that you're qualified as silver. Well, you'll get 1 share of the bonus pool for being silver, and then you'll get another extra share for each one of those 2 people that just went elite. So you'll get a total of 3 shares. So that would be 3 times roughly the $150, right? So 3 times $150, you're at $450. That's already starting to get nice bonus. And you can earn an extra share from, if you're gold or platinum as well, it works the exact same way. Now, let me just point out one cool thing. If 1 share, if just for being silver, you get 1 share worth $150. If you're gold, you get 5 times that. That's $750. And if you're platinum, you get 10 times the $150. That's $1,500. I want you to just pause and imagine, what can you do with an extra $1,500 income every month? You could probably save it up, go on a nice vacation. Maybe it helps pay for college for a kid. Maybe it pays your mortgage. If you live in California, it could pay for a tank of gas. People always crack up when I do that in a live event. It doesn't come off the same way in a webinar. But you get the picture. You can do a lot with an extra $1,500 every month. And that's just this bonus pool on top of your Unilevel commissions, on top of your Power of 3 and Fast Start, and potentially any retail profits you earn. Okay, so these bonus pools are super cool. Now, let's go to the next bonus pool. So the next one is the Diamond Performance Pool. This is for everybody who is Diamond, Blue Diamond, and Presidential Diamond. And it works similarly to the previous pool we just talked about, but here in this case it's just 1%. So everybody just gets invited to a party. I'm using that analogy again, but the pizza is smaller. But what's different here is that the number of people at the party is a lot fewer as well. So even though the pizza is smaller, it's only worth 1% of the total global volume of the company. You're still making the slice of your pizza, so to speak, is larger than from the previous pool, right? So somebody who's diamond will make more than somebody who's platinum. The value of this bonus on its own is about $1,200, okay? But in a moment, we'll talk about how the diamonds actually participate in 2 bonus pools, so that's how it adds up to more than what a platinum is making. And also, the diamond has the opportunity to earn an extra share. That extra share is worth about $1,200 again. So that's really cool incentive for people who are diamond to continue enrolling people. Now, in order to earn that extra share, however, somebody who's diamond the person they enroll needs to qualify as premier, not elite. So it is a little bit more difficult, okay? But the diamonds, blue diamonds, and presidential diamonds can each earn an extra share. But you'll also notice that the blue diamond earns twice as much from this bonus pool as the diamond. And the presidential diamond earns 3 times as much as the diamond. In other words, using the pizza party analogy, the diamond comes to the party and gets 1 slice of pizza, but it's a bigger slice than from the previous party where all the silvers and golds and platinums went. So the diamond gets 1 slice, it's a big slice. The blue diamonds get 2 slices, and the presidential diamonds get 3 slices. So roughly 3 times roughly $1,200, you're talking about roughly $3,600 just for the bonus pool if you're a presidential diamond, again with the opportunity of earning an extra share. Okay. Now there's yet another diamond bonus pool just for the diamonds. So another 1%. So all of the people that are diamond get to go to 2 pizza parties. The first pizza party is in this diamond performance pool where all of the diamonds, blues, and presidentials go. The second party is a party just for the diamonds. Now, the pizza is another 1%, just the same as was this previous party, but there's fewer people there again, and it's just the diamonds. So the value of this bonus pool is, usually roughly $3,000, $3,500, and you add that to the previous bonus pool, okay? So all of a sudden, diamonds are making $4,500 or so approximately just from their bonus pool on top of their Unilevel commissions, on top of their fast star bonuses, on top of their power of 3, and any retail profits they might have. So that's a really, really nice bonus to have. Now you also have another bonus pool just for the blue diamonds. So it's as if the blue diamonds went to a party just for the blue diamonds, so it's another 1%. Again, there's even fewer blue diamonds, so the pizza is the same size as the one for the diamonds, but there's fewer people, so each slice is worth more. And the value that the blue diamonds get when they go from this bonus pool is about $8,000 every month, okay? Plus this other previous bonus pool they got. And then there's another bonus pool just for the presidential diamonds, and the value of that bonus pool is about $25,000 every month. Now, do you think you can figure out how to live off of $25,000 every month? I bet you could. But you make sure that you always budget, right? If you don't budget now, then you probably won't be budgeting when you get to presidential diamond, and your expenses are going to start running out of control, and you're going to have financial problems anyway. Just a little plug there for good, proper financial, personal finance practices. Always use a budget. Okay, so that's how these bonus pools work. Now, I just want to share an experience with you that I had with one of my diamond leaders. He was a former distributor of a company called Amway, and when he joined doTERRA, he wanted to bring on some of his other Amway friends that were in Amway with him. And one of the people he approached about recruiting from Amway said, "Why would I join doTERRA? You only get paid 7 levels deep. I get paid deeper than that with Amway." And my friend called me and he said, "What do I tell him?" I told him, I said, "Well, didn't you tell him that you get paid on everybody in your organization, no matter how deep it goes? And didn't you tell him that you get paid on everybody in the entire company, even if they are not in your downline?" "Oh," was his response. "Yeah, this is super powerful. You get paid as soon as you start participating in any of these bonus pools, from the rank of premier on, you are making some money from everybody in doTERRA, no matter what level they are on in your organization, no matter whose organization they're on, whether yours or somebody else's, no matter where they are in the world, whether in the US, in China, in Japan, in Mexico, in Europe, it makes no difference where they are, who they're under, or how far down in the organization they are. You are making money from everybody that buys any product in doTERRA." That's pretty amazing. These bonus pools are great incentives for us to work together as leaders and to collaborate, because if somebody that's not in my organization is successful, good for them. The more successful they are, the more money there are in these bonus pools, and it just helps my commission check or my bonus check, right? And just the same for yours. So I love these bonus pools. They're super powerful. Now let's talk about the power of 3 bonus. This is how doTERRA has it represented on their document. And I think it's very, very, I think this is a super cool bonus, actually. That this is really powerful. This is the fastest way early on as you're building your business to make a decent $1,500 a month. So obviously everybody wants to know, how do you make the $1,500 bonus? Because there's 3 different levels of bonus that you could get. You could either get the $50 bonus, or the $250 bonus, or the $1,500 bonus. Now you'll notice I said or, I didn't say and. So you only get one or the other of these bonuses. You can't get multiples of them, you can't get all of them. So obviously all of your eyes are going to go straight to this $1,500, because you're thinking now, well, I could make it, that's an extra $1,500. That's like another mortgage payment, or whatever you're thinking in your mind, right? But just keep in mind, in order for you to know and understand how to earn the $1,500 bonus, you first need to understand how to earn the $50 bonus. Okay. Now there are 3 requirements for you to earn this the $50 bonus. Let's talk about just this $50 bonus right now. There's 3 requirements. The first requirement is that you have 100 PV personal volume order every month, and it has to be on LRP. Okay, so let me show you in a different diagram. Makes it a little bit more clear, I think. So the first requirement is that you must have a 100 PV LRP order. Does it have to be LRP? Yes. Does it have to be at least 100 PV? Yes. And does it have to be you buying it? Yes. Okay, that's the first requirement. The second requirement is that you have to have 3 people on your first level who also have a 100 PV minimum LRP order. Okay, do each of their orders have to be LRP? Yes. Do each of their orders have to be a minimum 100 PV? Yes. Okay, now if you fill the first requirement and you have your 100 PV LRP order, and then you fill the second requirement, which is each of these 3 people have their 100 PV LRP order, then the third requirement is that you plus everybody on your front line, this is what we call team volume here, 600 team volume. Your team volume has to be at least 600 PV, right? 600 points. So you plus the 3 people on your front line will automatically add up to at least 400 points, right? You'll have 100 to fill the first requirement. Each of them will have 100 to fill the second requirement. So 1, 2, 300 plus your 100, that's 400. So where does the remaining 200 PV come from? Well, if you bought 300 PV, it could come from you. Or if one of your people bought 300 PV, it could come from them, right? So that remaining 200 points could come from you or anybody else on your front line. Now, we talked about these needing to be LRP orders, right? You and the 3 people on your front line. But what if you just barely placed a 4th person on your front line, and so they just enrolled, and so in the first month that they enroll, they can't be on LRP yet, right? They can't have an LRP order that processes. They could only schedule one for the following month. But what if they placed a 200 PV enrollment order? Does that count? Well, that 200 PV enrollment order can count towards this 600 points. It doesn't count towards the 100 PV LRP of somebody on your front line because it's not an LRP order. And it doesn't count certainly as your 100 PV, right? So as long as you have your 100, these 3 have their 300, a 4th person on your front line could have another order. Or let's say you have 2 other people on your front line and they each have a 100-point order. Those 200-point orders will add 200 points to these 400 points, so that adds up to 600. So you're there, okay? So that's the 3rd requirement. The first requirement is you have a 100 PV LRP order at least. The second requirement is that you have 3 people on your first level. Do they have to be on your first level? Yes. Who have a minimum order of 100 PV on LRP. That's the second requirement. And the third requirement is that you plus everybody on your first level, so everybody together between you and everybody on your first level, add up to at least 600 PV. Those are the 3 requirements. If you fill those 3 requirements, you get the $50 bonus. Now, how do you get the $250 bonus? You simply duplicate that process. You teach and help each of these 3 people that are on your first level to get their $50 bonus. If each of those 3 people earn their $50 bonus, then you automatically earn the $250 bonus. How do you get the $1,500 bonus? Well, you help each of your 3 people on your front line earn the $250 bonus. How do they do that? By each of them helping their 3 people earn the $50 bonus. And if all of these 3 people and all of these 3 people and all of these 3 people earn their $50 bonus, that means that these 3 people are earning $250 bonus. That means that you are earning your $1,500 bonus. See, it's just a matter of duplication. Now, let me just diagram it slightly differently just to bring this point home. Your first order of business after you yourself have enrolled is to make sure that you have a 100 PV order. Then you need to enroll 3 individuals who are also building or sharing the business. Okay, you never want to build the power of 3 underneath a consumer or user, because that'll be frustrating. You'll never get further, right? You would have to build out everything underneath them if you want to get past the $50 bonus. So you really do want to just focus on people who are building the business, right? So these 3 people should be people that are building the business, and they each have 100 PV LRP and you have 100 PV LRP. So if you do that, and for it to add up to 600 points, let me just remind you what I said at the beginning of this presentation. For you to maximize the compensation plan, I always teach everybody to have a 150 PV LRP order and to teach their builders to do and sharers to do the same thing. Because if you check this out, the easiest way to get to this 600 points is for you to have 150, this first person to have 150, this person also to have 150, and this person to have 150. With 4 people buying 150 PV LRP orders every month, you're automatically filling all 3 of those requirements because they're all an LRP order of at least 100 points because they're 150, so because they're higher. And they're also filling that 3rd requirement of having 600 points total. Okay, so teach everybody to have a 150 point LRP order. So if you do this, then you're going to be getting $50 a month. Woohoo! You're rich, right? Well, no, not necessarily, but as long as those people are buying product, this is residual income because you'll make this bonus every single month, okay? So a reminder, each of them would have to have 150 PV for that to happen. Or of course, if they don't, then you could have additional people on your first level. Oops, didn't want to do that, you'd have 150, another person having 150 or another amount of product, right? As long as it adds up to 600. Okay, so your next order of business is to teach those 3 people on your first level that are represented in green to do the same thing you just did, right? It's duplication. Teach each of them to enroll 3 other builders or sharers who get on at least 150 PV LRP order, like I was just saying, right? It has to be at least 100, but I suggest to maximize the compensation, get it as quickly as possible, teach them to have 150 PV. And you help each of them do that. So now you have 9 people on your second level. And if everybody's on 150 PV LRP order, you're now making $250 a month. Now you might be thinking that's still not enough to make me rich, but keep in mind this is a very important point in your business. This is one of the key milestones of every business where you pass the break-even point, right? You're not losing money. It's not costing you any money to run your business. You're actually starting to make some money. Why is that? Because your cost, your first and foremost cost with running this business is having your own LRP order every single month, okay? So if you're buying 150 PV LRP every month, so 150 points, maybe you're on LLV, so it costs a little bit more than $150 plus shipping. In any case, you're less than $200 as far as what you need to be buying. So you have an extra $50 to $100 in your pocket on top of your cost of starting your business. So this is what a lot of people call free natural health care, right? Because all of your monthly oils that you use for you and your family and all the wonderful aspects and applications of doTERRA's oils, they become free in essence because you get paid back more than what you put into it. Wonderful place to be. A lot of people share the doTERRA's products just to get to this point in their business so that they can have free product every month. And that is a wonderful, super powerful thing to do. Now, the next order of business is for you to teach each of those 9 people to go and get their $50 bonus. And the way they do that is by each going out and finding 3 people who are also wanting to build and share the business, who get on 150 PV LRP order every month, and now you are making $1,500 a month. What can you do, once again, with an extra $1,500 a month every month that you have this structure in place? It's a very, very powerful thing. Use the power of 3 bonus. I often have a lot of people ask me, well, should I build towards rank or should I build towards power of 3? My answer is always the same, yes. If you let that sink in, the answer is you should build to both the power of 3 and rank at the same time. In reality, if you build out this power of 3 structure the way you have it, you have the perfect structure for you to go qualify as silver, right? Because in order for you to be silver, you have to have 3 people that you've enrolled on separate legs to qualify you, that each need to be qualified as elite. Now, if everybody here has 150 PV order every month like we talked about, so that is 9 people here plus 3, so you're at 12, plus the green person, you're at 13 people at 150 PV, so 150 times 13, you're at 1950 PV. Okay, so they're almost 2/3 way to the rank of elite by doing this. And if you get these 3 people to elite, then you're qualified as silver. So it's the perfect structure for building to silver. In fact, it's the perfect structure for building to not only silver, but gold and platinum, right? Because what is a platinum, for example? To be platinum, let's say this person, for him to be platinum, would need to have 3 people who qualify as silver. For them to qualify as silver, they need to have 3 people underneath them that qualify as elite. So this is the perfect structure and the perfect mold in which to cast your business to get to the ranks of silver, gold, and platinum. And once you've accomplished this, you want to go diamond. All it is just simply build a fourth leg, which in essence becomes an insurance leg for your power of three anyway, in case one of these people, for whatever reason, don't place their LRP order that month or get less than 150 points or whatever happens, right? So it's basically just an insurance leg, and it helps you qualify as diamond, right? So this power of three is, in my mind, the perfect mold in which to cast your business to get to the ranks of silver, gold, and platinum, and even moving on into getting you ready to go to diamond and beyond. So that is the power of three bonus. Very powerful. Teach it to everybody that's building the business under your team. Now, this is a slide that I created the very first month that Elise and I were building doTERRA. Now, this slide shows you how much money could be earned. It's not counting fast start bonuses because fast start only lasts for the first 2 months that you're building, that somebody enrolls. So it's not really residual income for each person that enrolls. And it's not also including bonus pools because those kind of fluctuate and we're not taking into consideration anybody qualifying at rank. So this is just purely from power of three bonus and from Unilevel commissions. So assuming that you enroll 3 people and each of them get on 150 PV LRP and you have 150 PV LRP order, and then each of those 3 people that you enrolled also enroll 3 doing the same thing, and all of those enroll 3 doing the same thing, and so on. So that's just kind of, if we were in a perfect world, what this might look like. If you had 1 level, you would earn $59. $50 from your power of 3 and $9 in Unilevel. So you can see that the Unilevel commission is smaller, right? If you go build it out to 2 levels, now you'd be earning $300. $250 from the power of 3 bonus, and about $50 from your Unilevel commission, assuming everybody's on a $150 LRP or PV LRP order. Okay, so this is more than doubling your investment from your enrollment, because assuming that you paid about approximately $150 with an enrollment kit, right? You're now getting $300. You doubled that investment. Okay, if you go down to 3 levels, now you're making $1,752. $1,500 of that is from the power of 3 bonus. Only $252 is Unilevel, so you could still see the Unilevel portion is still rather small. But now you can see that the Unilevel starts picking up a little bit. If you build it out to 4 levels, again, this is assuming everybody's on 150 PVLRP and everybody's enrolling 3 and they're enrolling 3 and so forth down the line. You go to 5 levels, now you're at $4,500. So now the Unilevel portion is already bigger than the power of 3 significantly. In fact, it's doubled it, right? So you're going to get $1,500 from the power of 3 and you'll get $3,000 from the plus from the Unilevel. If you go down to 6 levels, you can see that you're making $11,000. Now, almost $10,000 of that is just the Unilevel. And if you go down to 7 levels, you're making $34,000 a month. Now, can you imagine what you could do with $34,000 a month? I bet you could. Now, also keep in mind that this is a perfect structure, assuming everything works out perfectly. I also want you to think about this. When Elise and I made this slide, doTERRA did not have anybody in the company who yet was earning $34,000 a month. Okay, the most somebody was earning was probably around this $10,000 to $15,000 range at that point in time when Elise and I created this slide. But we knew that it was possible theoretically, and we started teaching it to people. Well, not long after that, actually somebody did get to earning $34,000, more than $34,000 a month. And today, there are many, many, many wellness advocates who are making well above $34,000 a month, and some that are making almost 10 times that. Okay, so the amount of money that you could make with doTERRA is truly theoretically unlimited, only limited by your efforts, your skill, your knowledge, and the contacts, the people you talk to. So that's what it all depends on. So if you are somebody who wants to be a go-getter and go out there and make things happen, you absolutely have the opportunity to do that. Go for it. Just make it happen. Build your dreams. You can do it. And those are the 5 ways you can make money with doTERRA. First, retail profits. Second, fast start bonus. Third, Unilevel commissions. Fourth, bonus pools. And fifth, the power of 3 bonus. Now, just to tie things up and wrap things up at the very end, when you're teaching a brand new person, you can keep it very simple. We talked about retail profits. You could share that concept. It's usually a concept that people grasp quickly. You don't need to spend a lot of time on that, particularly since it's not residual. I don't spend a lot of time on it anyway. Second, you talk about the fast start bonus. I describe the fast start bonus in just like 2 or 3 minutes. It won't take you very long to do that, but I would use an example for sure. Just keep it to the basics. Don't start talking about if you enroll somebody and place them on your 3rd level, who gets, that would just confuse them. Only talk about the plain scenario of you enroll somebody, you enroll Sally, Sally enrolls Bethany, Bethany enrolls Yolanda. That's it. Okay, don't make it more complicated than that. Third thing, Unilevel commissions, you can describe that. That one might take a little bit longer to describe, but don't take too much time. Bonus pools, here's all I would say about bonus pools in talking to a brand new person. Just say, once you get to the ranks of Premier and above, you're considered a leader and you get to participate in leadership bonus pools where you make money, a bonus, based off of all of the volume that is purchased in doTERRA worldwide, whether they're in your downline or not. That's a 1-sentence explanation of the bonus pools that is very powerful and brings the idea home. And you don't need to get into details. As somebody's getting close to the rank of Premier, maybe when they're elite, you can teach them more about the bonus pools so they get a clearer picture of how that might work in their business. Okay, and then the 5th piece, power of 3 bonus, like we described. Very powerful bonus. Absolutely, people should be going for the power of 3 bonus. I hope this helps. Have a great day.